trying to be quiet, so, you know, anybody who's watching can kind of experience exactly what I'm experiencing. I don't really do quiet, though. I do loud. So, basically, what have we got? Now, basically, I split my video up into 3 parts because what I wanted to do was I wanted to make it so that I could make exterior view, car show view, interior review, and then I can do a test drive. And this way, if I split it up into different parts, I can advertise each individual part. And then when I put it all together, I can make like a huge montage. So this way I'll have 5 videos instead of just 1. That's the way that you maximize your YouTube monies. So look at this. What we have here, we have 2 USB ports. Look at that. That's nice. 2 USB ports. You have my Jeep has the same thing. It has the power inverter right here. Well, they have an AC power inverter, and then they have a cigarette lighter socket. That's actually a pretty decent, nice placement for it, right? That looks pretty good. And this car, unlike the one that I did at the car show, does not have the rear reclined seats. So as you can see, there's a hell of a lot of leg room in the back. And as I showed you with the other car yesterday, there's a bump in the top where you can put your head. So that this way, if you have like, if you're a pretty tall guy, this back of this car would be perfect for, let's say, 6'5" adults. Okay, so Cadillac has dealt with their headroom pretty well in this car, which is a really good thing. And most of the materials look pretty decent. It's just that the lower materials, I mean, yeah, granted, most cars, like if you look at an Audi A8, you're going to see pretty much the exact same thing. There's going to be plastic lowers, and as you get higher, it turns into luxury wood and it turns into leather. So basically, you know, it really feels a lot like an Audi product in some respects. Now, most people who are Audi buyers would probably try to argue with me, and they'd be like, oh, yeah, it's nothing like an Audi, blah, blah, blah. But the thing about it is it kind of feels like an Audi because of, like, the design is bold, but the thing about it is it doesn't go far enough. Like, the design doesn't scream out Cadillac, you know, and a lot of the other GM cars are going to be designed very similarly. So that means that, you know, whichever one you get, most of the other GM high-end cars are going to be a lot like this. So, once again, these are the headrests. This, when you tilt it up and forward, see, the one at the car show had a button right here for the massage seats. This one does not have the massage seats. And then these are the memory seats right here. So that's set memory 1, 2. And then right here is another button. Look, if you can see that. I'm trying to work on the macro shots with this 4K. So this way everybody can see all of the details as well as possible. Now, once again, a lot of people have asked me what camera did I use to record my video. And I tell them, yeah, I'm using the iPhone 6S Plus. And the 6S Plus has obviously 4K. And you can also use 1080p at 60 frames per second. Okay, so basically, before you ask, I just want to let you know. So you have the left and right mirror button here, mirror control, unlock, lock. Then you have windows, lock windows. Lock window comes with a light. Okay. Parking brake, lighting, interior light control. Okay. Heated steering wheel, voice control. All right, so everything's pretty good. So now let's talk about the Q system. Okay, so the new big thing in the Q system is the fact that it has a touchpad. The touchpad also has some form of bumper feedback. You can probably hear it. And it reminds me a lot of the BlackBerry Storm. Like, I don't know, probably nobody actually used that phone, but it was one of the last phones that BlackBerry made until they realized they couldn't compete with iPhone. It has a simple back touch button to go back, but this is not capacitive touch. You actually have to push it. And if you look at that, I don't know how long that piece right there is going to last, because if you look at it, you hear that? See, this is exactly what I'm talking about. When I'm talking about Cadillac having to increase the material Yeah, I mean, this is what I'm talking about. It speaks for itself. Now, the CTS had a sliding cup holder cover, so I guess they abandoned that with this car, even though this is the bigger car, and they could have put that in here with lots of space to spare. But they abandoned that in this car. Did they really need it? Not in my opinion. I would have preferred if they had headrests where you had a button on the side, like in the Mercedes E-Class or the Hyundai Genesis, strangely enough, where you didn't have to push this and push up and down. So, you know, it's like Cadillac, they engineer stuff in the car that really doesn't need to be engineered. But that's just what they do. So here you go. You have the camera. I'm pushing camera. Nothing's happening right now. Okay, traffic button. That shows your traffic. Typical of a nav traffic system. Then you go back. Now, if I want to, I could also use this touchpad to go back and forth. And it seems like it's pretty fast. Let me try to enter a navigation direction. And see, the thing about it is if you're moving along in the car, it's actually easier to reach up and just touch that than it is to reach down here and try to slide your... Because first of all, you got to figure out where it is. Now, after a while, muscle memory will kick in and you'll be able to figure out where it is real quick. But the only thing about it is it's like this thing doesn't seem... It slides around. Look at that. And it has a haptic feedback thing, which to me is kind of annoying. Like, yeah, you can slide it quick like that, but when you try to do the fine motor controls, you can see, if you try to do fine motor controls on it, like let's say if I want to get to 103.5, right? Okay, so that's 103.5. Now I want to go here. Let's say I want to go to 1010 winds. Okay. Now let's say if I want to go to, I don't know, let's say I want to go to navigation. Yeah, you gotta it's kind of funny. You gotta push this thing. You gotta put so much pressure into the damn thing. Nav. Okay. So that's your nav. Has you can just keep touching it and it gives you a multi-view points. 3D, 2D. Okay, which is kind of good because that, that could help somebody. Mostly anybody who drives a car like this is probably going to use the 3D view isometric, so this way, they see what's coming up next. So let's go to phone. Now, really, with most of these cars, phone dialing is, most people are just going to use their phone. Like, even though the whole point of these technologies is to try to keep the phone out of your hand, most people are really just going to use the voice dial button if they can. Like, for instance, they push that button right there, and they'll try to dial for the voice control. Now, this is the gauge cluster. Okay. And that looks pretty cute right there. So basically, it's funny. When I was at the car show, if you watch my video from the car show, there was someone who said this car was too Guido. Now, I think really most older Americans who grew up with Cadillac and Lincoln, they're going to like this car a lot. They're really going to like this car. But, it's just a couple of things in here that just needed to be done a little bit better. It almost feels like the car was a little rushed. Kind of. Okay, so that's home. Projection, what's that do? To use this feature, okay, so I know the new systems come with Apple Carplay in the new GMs, so that's good. That's a good thing, because Apple Carplay mimics on this screen your Apple device, which is good. And the camera doesn't obviously work unless the car is active, so let's just turn on the auxiliary and see what that looks like. Okay, it says push brake to start. I don't want to do that because I'm indoors. So let's try this. Nothing on the camera. Text, SMS, texting. So you can text from right here if you have a phone paired. Okay, so as you know, there's a heated and cooled seats and everything. All this stuff only comes on when the car is on because it needs extra power. Glove box. Okay. Parking sensors for the rear, parking sensors for the back. Okay, well, that looks pretty good. Okay. Really, this car is really about the back seat. It's not so much about the front seat. It's all about the back. Now, up here, you have the home link buttons. You have 3 home links. I'm trying to zoom in. It's a little dark in here. You have 3 home link buttons right here. 1, 2, and 3. Then right here, you have the tilt for the mirror window. And on top of that, you have... Oh, okay, that's the shade. So you can control the shade independently. Okay, so that's the shade, and then the slide roof is the next two buttons. And then they have this button right here for recirculate air. So the car can actually do that. That's pretty good. Then you have these buttons right here, LED lighting. Okay. Power tilt and slide. Okay, so that's all that. Okay. As far as these materials go, this looks kind of like the carbon fiber trim that they put in most cars, but it's actually gold. It looks really, really good. It looks really, really nice. It stretches all the way around. And, you know, I already showed you what the back seat of the car looks like. There's obviously that center pass-through right there. So with some packages, you may see a, what is it called, a cooler or a refrigerator or a wine cooler back there. But basically, you can kind of see just from how much space there is in these seats that this is a really spacious, big car. And there's a lot of ceiling height. But it's a really, really spacious car. So this will be perfect for a lot of older, like taller people who just want a lot of space, but they don't want to step into one of those Escalades right there because it's just too big. So this will be really perfect for them. And they've also changed all these buttons right here. Like I kind of felt a little bad that they went to plastic instead of the look that they had for the last generation with that black gloss. But ultimately, it works out pretty well. And the thing about it is you're dealing with octogenarians, so you have to make the buttons large and easy for them to understand. So basically, that's pretty much it. If you have any GM car, you already pretty much know how the Q system works. The only real addition to the new Q system is the widescreen display and the touch panel. I'm not really happy with this touchpad. I think it's actually easier to just reach up and hit this right there. I think it's easier to reach up. But the problem is, it's like everybody tries to copy what Audi and Mercedes-Benz are doing. And that finger writing gesture bullshit that Audi tried to start in the A8, it was a stupid idea from the get-go. But, you know, you know, you can't argue with them. So anyway, you got these up and down buttons right here. Look at that. Got these up and down pads. Let's see if we find out what these do. Okay, these up and down pads are for the lumbar. So the power lumbar settings are those big D-pads right here. So when you push this up, the top lumbar powers up and it deflates or inflates when you push up and down. Left and right changes the power lumbar inflator in the seat. So I can show you that right here, like with this pad right here. If you look closely, okay, there you go. Now, if you have a fully optioned model, this is a pan array 32-piece Bose system right here. This pops up, and kind of like Audi, you know, they love copying Audi. And you get tweeter sound or subwoofer sound from up here because it's 32 speakers. Like there's one over there, there's one right here, there's one over here. But when you also have a fully optioned, you get massage seats, heated and cooled seats all around. And you know, they have it optioned. They try to option as much as you can get a Mercedes S-Class optioned, but the problem is that Mercedes S-Class just feels like a better product. You know, so yeah, it looks pretty good. It's a very damn good looking car, and in its price range, it's probably at the very top of the segment at its price range. So the only problem is now you have to wait and see what the Lincoln Continental has to offer, because when I saw those Lincolns at that car show, even though you couldn't see the Continental, the Navigator was so amazing until I can't wait to see what Lincoln is going to do in order to compete. And this is the competition. New interior. Oh man, how could you compete with this? There is no competition with this. The S-Class owns this market for one good reason. It doesn't compromise. That's the attitude that I like. No compromises. Because when you start to compromise, you end up in a situation where you're always going to be behind. When you make it so there's no compromises and nobody can compromise with you, you create a situation where what you say goes. No compromises ever. You see this powered headrest Cadillac? You should have that. See that? That shit goes back and forth. Oh my goodness. It goes forward, it goes back, it goes up, it goes down. No compromises. See this? You see these backrests? Cadillac, do you see this? You see that? No compromise. You see that? You see the seat cushion? See how that goes forward and back? Cadillac, you see that? No compromises. Don't compromise, ever. Now, granted, underneath, you know, this lovely luxury. Oh my goodness, look at this shit. See, the one that we leased didn't even have all this shit. Jesus. They keep redesigning these things. I mean, oh my goodness. No compromises. No negotiation. You know how the government, the U.S. government says we do not negotiate with terrorists? Well, that's how you got to be. No compromise. This is a back seat. This is what, you see Cadillac, you see this? This is what a back seat's supposed to look like. When you make your back seat like this, then they'll come. You see that? See that? You see how I'm reclining the hell out of myself? You see this? I'm reclining the hell out of myself. I got a headrest. I got nothing but headspace. Look at this. I got headspace like crazy. Look at that. Look at this. You see these light fixtures in the back for the people, for the women who are trying to do their makeup. You see that? No compromise. You see that? That's what it means not to compromise. That's what a luxury car is supposed to be about. Hey, Cadillac, you know what they got under that hood up there? You know what they got? They got a V8 engine up there. They got a V8 engine. You know all those European gas taxes and all that nonsense that you guys are trying to meet, and that's the reason why you don't have a V8? Yeah, well, Mercedes came from Europe, and they ain't worried about gas taxes. They ain't worried about V6s with turbos in them for a car that weighs like this much. They ain't worried about none of that. This is no compromising. That's what no compromising means. And that's the reason why you don't know how to compete. Because you compromise and they don't. Man, maybe I should just get one of these instead. Get one with this interior, luxury interior. See this Cadillac? I want you to take a really good look at this because I'm gonna tweet you, Cadillac. I'm gonna send this to your Facebook. Because I'm starting to wonder if you ever saw the inside of this. Maybe you didn't. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe you don't know what the frame of reference is. Maybe you don't understand why this car owns this entire segment. Maybe you don't understand it. Maybe you don't understand it because you've never been in this car. Maybe that's what it is. So I guess I have to give you the benefit of the doubt. See this? No compromises, Cadillac. Stop compromising. Do not negotiate. I don't care what anybody, if somebody tells you, they say, yeah, well, we can't have a V8 engine. I want that person fired immediately. Stop compromising. Because when you compromise, you come up short every single time. This is no compromises. See that? The interior of this thing looks like a goddamn spaceship from the future. A spaceship, I tell you. See that? Cadillac, I want you to take a good look. Take a good, long look. And I want you to understand the reason why you're having so much trouble selling your cars and they're not. Now, I want you to also understand your car costs, what, $70,000? Their car costs $100,000. But their car is killing other cars that cost less money. So the question is why? You know why? Because they don't compromise. You know how I told you about the word sensibility with the Dodge Charger? Well, this word, today's word is compromise. Stop compromising. Because the more you compromise, the more you lose.